Good morning, everyone. Tonight we're talking about long exposures in the cities. Let's go. Alright guys, welcome to a new episode. It's been way too long we haven't gone out and shot, which means today we're going to go out on the field and we're gonna be talking about long exposure. I want to go and grab a very iconic photo which is supposed to look kind of like that of Chicago, and for that I'm gonna join my friend Cole. We're gonna go on a little mission to get that shot, and then I'm gonna come back here and edit with you. So if you're ready, grab your camera, grab your jacket because it's freezing, and let's go. All right. Trust me, I really tried to shoot out there and just do it for you, but wow, it was so cold. My face was a little bit freezing. I couldn't speak properly. My face is a bit frozen, so just thought, why don't I come back here now that I've got the shot and I give you all my tips right here, right now, and we're gonna edit that photo together. As you might have seen, the whole exercise tonight was to get that S-curve train photo, and I had seen it before and it just intrigued me. It was like, oh, I want to shoot that. And Cole knew the location, he had shot it before. He's like, let's go shoot it together. We had a few distractions. He also showed me the plank, which is in the middle of Chicago, a great spot. I had seen photos, never understood where it was. It's kind of dangerous, so be careful if it's winter because there is ice everywhere. So yeah, try not to die. But we made it through, got a quick photos here and there. So now I want to show you how I shot that S-curve train long exposure. It's actually very simple. Whenever you're bored or whenever you have really bad weather in your city, my recommendation is really to go out at night and shoot long exposure, because it doesn't matter how the sky is for those. It's really cool. You get different kind of effect, a new vibe, and also it's kind of fun to explore your city at night. Now, here are a few tips. Whenever you're doing long exposure in city, it's very important to be in a stable location. So grab a tripod or put your camera down on the floor or somewhere where it's really stable, because when you do long exposure, you don't want to have a little movement. So also put a 2-second timer or 5-second, put it on, and then don't touch your camera and let your camera take the photo. And last tip is simply experiment. Start with a very high ISO so your exposures are not too long, and then see if you like your framing, your composition, and then keep dragging that shutter down until you're around 15-20 seconds to get nice light trails. Remember, light trails are simply due to the fact that your camera has the sensor exposed for a long time, which means it cannot really freeze the action and it just sees the light go by, which is pretty, I love the effect. So for that specific shot with a train, I actually shot 20 seconds, ISO 50, f10, and I was at 24mm. Now, what is great with that location is the train passes by and thus has a light trail. I shot vertical and horizontal, so I'm gonna use those vertical shots that I got. When I'm gonna edit that photo, there are a few things I want to be doing. The first thing I'm gonna do, wow, I'm getting really hot. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to set my white balance correctly. Now, when I shoot at night in the cities, what is really cool, because there are a lot of yellow lights, etc., is to drag that white balance down towards 2700, for example. I really like it. It gives a little futuristic look to photos and videos at night. So 2750 for me right now on that image. Next thing I want to do, and remember, because we have the light choice, we want to emphasize really that part. You know, that's gonna be the best and the most interesting part, is really to add a lot of strength into those. And because I don't have enough, I'm gonna blend several images I took together after, just to really add more effect. So that will be the second part, but the first part, as I mentioned, is here in Lightroom. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna adjust a little bit the light. I'm going to give a little bit more punch into the highlights, and my shadows are gonna be like that. Yeah, I kind of like it like that so far. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna increase a little bit my exposure here. Oops, that's not the exposure, that the sound doesn't work the same. So I'm gonna increase a little bit my exposure because it's a little bit dark. And the first thing I can notice when I do that is this part over here is really distracting. It's like, it's kind of very bright, so I will tone it down later. But for now, let's give a little punch to the highlights, bring down a little bit the shadows, add a little punch in the whites also, and the blacks. If I bring them up, it's gonna look too HD or flat. I don't like it. That's not the point of my photo. And here I can add a little bit of clarity if I want. You see, it makes it a lot more gritty. I'm gonna add a little bit of clarity, not too much. And the next thing I wanna do is change a little bit the colors, the feel of each color. So here we have a prominent blue, clearly. And what I can do is I can desaturate a little bit the blue. So not too much, a little bit. And then I'm gonna change a little bit my luminance just to make it a little bit darker. And that's it. That's all I'm gonna do about the colors right now. I will do a lot more after I've merged all the images. But look at that. Now I'm gonna just press previous and import the same settings on all those images. But as you've seen, I kind of messed up and took different shots that I'm gonna try to blend together. And you will see it will work. Now we've got 4 photos with the train, okay, and the light rail. It's really cool. Now those 4 photos, we've got 5 of them, sorry. Those 5 photos, I'm gonna import them into Photoshop. I'm gonna edit them as open as layer in Photoshop. What it's gonna do, it's gonna open Photoshop. In Photoshop, it's gonna be straightforward. So while it's loading, because it usually takes forever, I want to welcome all of you who are new to this channel because we've got a lot of new faces around here and I'm very, very excited to have you around. So thank you so much for being here and yeah, welcome to the adventures. This is the city part of the adventures before we move on and travel again. Oh yeah, that's gonna be good. All right, I think we're almost done. Now, the goal is to grab all those layers right here. You select all of them and here you tap align, press the geometric distortion so that it really aligns properly. And I go in auto. And now I press and I just wait another 5 minutes for it to happen. And while I'm pressing, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Cole, who has an awesome feed on Instagram of Chicago by Night. So please, everyone, go check out his work. While it's loading, why don't we, yeah, you went on Instagram. Maybe I'm gonna reply to a few of your DMs also. Got a few requests here. Hello, can you call me? Can you tell me how I can work as a travel photographer? That's a good question. How can you work as a travel photographer? Guys, you asked the question. So let's talk about it. If you want to be a travel photographer, first of all, you have to travel. Second of all, you need a camera. And third of all, you need to be shooting 24/7 and really getting your skills to the next level. Next thing, number 4, is you need to be doing business development. You need to be talking to hotels, tourism boards, airline companies, whoever in the travel space you want to work with. You need to talk to them to make sure you can capture the destination and they will use your work. Okay, Photoshop is done. We're done with the tiny Q&A. By the way, new podcast is dropping. We've got Jordan Hammond and we've got Carmen Hutter that is coming up on the podcast. Absolutely awesome. Check it out in the link below. All right. Okay, so this is the result. This is what it looks like right now. And you might be thinking, wow, that's really distorted. But don't worry, because we're going to be cropping. And that's why I didn't do any local adjustment on the image in Lightroom, because right now I don't know how the image is going to look like after. So let's work with that funny image, okay? So as you can see, Photoshop overlaid all the images. Photoshop did a really good job. So my layers are aligned. Now I want to blend them all together and keep only that light part. Select which image is going to be my master image, meaning the one I'm gonna keep. I'm gonna try to find the one that is the widest. I'm gonna keep that image as the top image. So I'm gonna put it at the bottom in Photoshop so that everything is stacked up on top of it. All right, now what I'm gonna do is simply choose the blending mode. So as I mentioned, here I want that one to be on lighten mode. Okay, what I'm gonna do is just create a layer mask. That layer mask allows you to mask certain part of that new layer. So I'm gonna remove a lot on that image and I'm gonna start with the contrary. So my layer mask is now black, so I press Command I and now I'm grabbing the brush tool. Here I'm gonna paint on the part that I want to add to. So here, as you can see, we're adding a light here. That looks pretty cool. All right, adding a bit more light. And that's it. So that looks cool. We've got one more layer. Now we're gonna add another one because here there is another light trail. So let's see what we can do with that one. Same lighten And same, we're gonna add a layer mask, we're gonna invert that layer mask, we're gonna take our brush tool here and we're gonna paint. But now the interesting part is going to be when we add the other side of the train. So I'm gonna add the other side of the train with that photo, which looks pretty cool. And I'm going to go in lighten mode, okay? Now we're in lighten mode. Again, I'm gonna grab my brush tool, create a layer mask, invert it, Command I. There we go, look at that. Boom, we're adding a lot of light here. Looks really sick. Got 2 layers of train, that looks great. And you might be still wondering like, oh, it's distorted, all that. We will get there, don't worry. Okay, last part, let's turn on the last layer. And what does the last layer tell us? It tells us that we've got light over here. So let's add that light. All right, that's our composed image right now. This is how it looks. Now, the last part that we want to do is crop. Of course, we're going to recrop that photo. We're not gonna leave it like that. I mean, it looks ugly. Who would like that on Instagram right now? Right? We know. I'm just kidding. Who cares? All right, that's it. That's how I want to crop it for now, because now we're gonna go back to Lightroom. So you hit save, and now it's gonna show up again into Lightroom. Photoshop is really about being patient. You need to wait a lot, 96%. Has any of you questions? Let me know in the comments below so that in the next video, we can talk about them while we're waiting for Photoshop to take forever. Next video coming up soon, 97%. Okay, we're saved, that's it. Now let's go back to our friend. And now Lightroom is going to have our image cropped into here. There we go. Okay, this is the image we just created in Photoshop. Now, I want to do a few local adjustments just to give exactly the feel I want. Remember, taking a photo and editing it is just about highlighting the most important part in your image and removing the distractions. So, as I mentioned, that round thing is really distracting. Also, when you edit, please edit first and then crop, because if you want to recrop one day and you did local adjustments, it's gonna be too tight. So first of all, I'm going to make it a lot more blue on that side because I feel it's a bit yellow and it's a bit yucky. So let's make it a little bit more blue. I just drop down the temperature here and I'm just painting over that section of the image. Right? That looks cool. Now I'm gonna drop the highlights here and I'm going to drop some shadows also because I want that part to be darker. So I'm gonna reduce exposure actually. Okay, reducing exposure. There we go. All right. So we're kind of dodging here. We're doing a lot of dodging, burning. There we go, looks good. It's a little bit better. Maybe it's a little bit too drastic, so you wanna go back up. Tweaking adjustments is all about balance. So you wanna always find that balance between the two. Well, I kind of like the feel of it, but I feel like that middle center part with the train tracks should be a bit stronger on the image. So I'm gonna remove distraction from around it so that it's easier to see it. Here I'm gonna drop the highlights on the building and over here, and then I'm going to make it a little bit darker also. That's it. Now I'm gonna add another one just really to create more framing in my image. Now the last part I want to do here is simply dropping a little bit my highlights, boost a little bit the colors. I think we're getting somewhere here. But now there is something really weird. That part is not the right color. And now what I can do is I can recrop it. Boom, there we go. And voila, here we go. That's kind of what I wanted in my image. Ready for Instagram, I can recrop it in 4x5 and just drop it on the gram. And that's all it is. So you can check it out, go at Piety Lambert. Guys, if you are bored in your city, if the weather sucks, please get out there at night and go shoot long exposure. It's really gonna make a great difference. You're gonna love it, and your work is, it's at the end of the day, it's fun and you will try something different and something new. So, if you like that video, if you have more questions, let me know in the comments below. Please leave it a big thumbs up. Remember, if you're new to this channel, I'm a travel adventure photographer. My name is Pierre, and if you liked adventures, make sure you subscribe, hit that SUBSCRB button, ring that notification bell, get out there, try something different, try something new, and I will see you in the next episode. Oh, I forgot to say, when you hit that notification bell, it's gonna make a huge dome. It's gonna be amazing. Oh yeah, bye.